Folks, welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. This is your Major League Baseball show for Thursday, September 10th, 2020. Yes, we know there's football in the docket tonight. Yes, I'm wearing my Chiefs red, but there's a lot of green, Jason, to be made in Major League Baseball, and we are going to attack it today. Got another one last night, 14-1 in my last 15 plays. Jason is rolling. This is the place to be for your Major League Baseball content. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're ready to kick off another great show. And your Mets last night, Jason, finally pulled up their bootstraps, made amends, and made me some money yesterday with a team total as well. Those Mets, thank you. We'll see what happens today, but I'm excited, Jason. Big card today, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, I was wearing a Pete Alonso shirt, right? So
yes.
All that Pete Alonso mojo there, wearing that Pete Alonso shirt that I got from the stadium last year where they gave out, these shirts, for free on Free Shirt, T-shirt Friday or whatever. Got that shirt, wore it yesterday, and it helped Donnie cash that ticket for the Mets. Of course, I didn't bet it, but I'm very happy with the result last night, being the Orioles that have given us a problem, and a lot of teams a problem throughout the entire season. So, watch out, Yankees, because the Orioles are coming. But this is it was fun. It was a lot of fun last night, and we got the Yankees win last night, so that was a lot of fun as well.
No, I was cheering that on, too, at the end of the fifth inning. Obviously, they needed that run to tack it on. Also, if you looked at the team total, that 5 certainly hit later, better than later than never, as I'd like to say, in the ninth inning as well. Huge card today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. 67,300 people have hit that subscribe button. We do thank you for that. Turn your notification bell on. When me and Jason go live talking Major League Baseball, you will get it delivered directly to your inbox. And also, if you miss the show, if you come back late, if you need to check and say, you know what, where's Jason's written content at? Where can I catch these videos at? It's very simple. There's the link below, sbrpicks.com/MLB. Get all the knowledge there. Thank you guys in the chat box. Abel, Stacy, Bold, Longshot, Chuck, Talisman, One for the Money, Lamont, Jovan. Welcome in. Let's get after it today. Let's pick out some winners. Now, not on our card right off the bat is this game I want to talk about. Why is that? It's 1:30 right now Eastern time. We do have a game kicking off, but it is a doubleheader game between St. Louis and Detroit. Skubal and Flaherty. 5.5 as a total across the board. Keep in mind, folks, again, that's still a 7-inning game, not a 9-inning game. Opens up at around 200, Jason. Now we're seeing 226s. Flaherty clearly the better pitcher to me. St. Louis the better bats. But are we laying this 220 in this early game? Any thoughts on this one? I don't have anything on this one here.
Yeah, I mean, Tariq Skubal, this is a guy, he's getting minimal ground balls, having lots of hard contact. He's done well limiting walks for sure, but he's had 2 straight starts allowing just 1 or 2 runs in 5+ innings. Both were versus the Twins. So you kind of worry. You're a little worried there. Like, can Skubal have another solid outing, or will he go back to the metrics that say he should get hit hard? The lefty, he struggled versus righties this season with a 302 average. There's some good righties in that Cardinals lineup that can definitely do damage. I like Jack Flaherty and the Cardinals in this one over the Tigers. Of course, watching the Tigers last night, how could you pick any team? How could you pick Tigers over any team in the MLB? Then there's a second game between, it looks like Jordan Zimmerman and Austin Gumber. Yep. Austin Gumber, he's had 1 start this season, 0.64 ERA, so he's been pretty good. I don't know too much about the guy. Didn't do much research on him. Definitely don't have a play in this one. But Jordan Zimmerman getting the first start of the season for himself. Last season, he had a 6.91 ERA and a 4.79 FIP. Not high on Zimmerman at all. Not high on the Tigers at all anymore. I think they're starting to kind of regress a little bit. I don't think they're, we're going to really see much out of them throughout the remainder of the season. I like the Cardinals here to get the sweep in this doubleheader. But if I had to take like one play out of these 2 games, maybe the Cardinals over 3.5 in the first game, over Skubal. The metrics say he's going to get hit. The stats say he's not going to get hit. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, doubleheader is certainly always up in the air, but Gomber is that ultimate guy we like to talk about, Jason. A 0.64 ERA on the season, but a 5.26 ERA and a 5.70 xFIP. So due to get hammered, Zimmerman's one of the guys I've loved to fade over the past 2 to 3 years in Detroit. So we'll see if that same thing entails. But again, double headers early in the day, who's going to be in, who's available out of the bullpen, who doesn't pitch well, and certainly that secondary game, just throwing a couple pitchers out there. Let's get into the meat of the card here. 3:40 p.m. Eastern time start, 9:51, 9:52, Houston and Oakland. That's your Quiddy versus Manaea. That's going to be out west, so an early start, 12:40 p.m. Western time. Manaea, the lefty on the mound, opened up around 145 offshore at SBRodds.com. Not a lot of movement here, still sitting in that low 140s to 145 range. Over under opened up at 9.5. That now has come back to 9, and I sort of agree with it here. You know me, I'm not an under guy, so obviously I'm not going to just say, you know what, let's just fire on an over. But the under seems to make sense to me, and even in the first 5 innings, taking the under 5 in this game fits my eye. But again, I won't be betting the under. I don't have a clear look at this one. I do like these two pitchers on the mound, but when you look at Houston's dynamics here, they should be able to hit left-handed pitching. They've done it pretty well all season long, and then those Oakland bats versus Quiddy, that's the best I could talk about. Just like, I don't know. I'll lean on the under. What do you got on this game?
Yeah, so last night we took the Athletics over 4.5. They got 3 runs and really struggled against Garcia. If I had been able to watch tape of Garcia, I definitely would have changed my mind on that. He's got wicked stuff, very erratic, but somehow able to get out of gyms. A crazy game. Disappointed about that one for sure, but you know what? We just got to move on from that and swallow it and take the beating. So for this one, definitely not touching this game for the Athletics or the Astros, but your Quiddy, this is a guy with 4.91 strikeouts per 9 innings, 7.36 walks per 9 innings. Of course, just one start, but in that start, he walked a bunch of batters in that game in 3.2 innings pitched. So also, if you look at the exit velocity in that game, both batters hit him with a 98.4 miles per hour average of exit velocity. That's hard-hitting balls against your Quiddy. I don't know about the Athletics here, man. The offense just really didn't do much in that first game, and I'm not sure if they'll do enough in this game as well. But Sean Manaea, another guy, he's been hit hard versus righties. Righties are hitting now 313 against Manaea, but I think he's turned the corner. I think he's looked a lot better in his last couple of starts. Do I have a lot of confidence in him? No. But 3 straight starts, he's allowed just 1 earned run in 5 innings or more. So definitely starting to pitch a lot better within the last 3 starts. So if I had to choose, I like the Athletics here at minus 157. I like the over 9. That's what the metrics say, over 9. But we saw last night, you know, the metrics said over 2, and we just got 5 runs. So, yeah, I'd rather take the Athletics here if I had to make a choice. I do like the over 9, but you know what? Like you said, like the offenses haven't really performed.
No, you're right. And actually some interesting stuff from last night, Jason, when you took a look at even some of the pictures that were coming in from San Francisco, which obviously is right across the bay from Oakland, all those wildfires just creating an unreal scene. Some of the pictures they were taken from like 10 a.m. You might have thought it was like midnight with, you know, on a movie set. It was really wild to see. We'll see how that plays in tonight. But just taking a look at the batters from the Houston Astros tonight, the first 5 guys versus lefties this year, ISO power, Springer 300, Bregman 280, Brantley 280, Gurriel 350, and Tucker 318. But for some reason, it just like you see those numbers. Oh my gosh, they should be able to rake. They just haven't been able to do that here for the Astros this year. Let's keep moving. If you laid down with some fleas, you came up with a victory. Yes. For the last, how about this, Jason? The last 2 nights, I've dug down on the Pirates offense and the Texas Rangers offense and came up with winners. Amazing here. Bundy versus Gibson on the mound. This one's going to be 4:05 Eastern time. Minus 185 opened up as a road favorite here for those Angels. Now sitting at 160s, 165s. Total opened up at 9. That now also sits at 8.5 in this game. Bundy's been decent this year, the numbers say, but again, Bundy's going up against an offense that's not supposed to do a lot of damage and vice versa. Gibson hasn't been a great pitcher, but then again, the most enigmatic offense in the entire Major League Baseball for me in 2020 is the Angels. There's no way they should be underperforming, getting shut down by some of the pitchers they do. I lean on under 9, don't have a great say in this game, but I just can't figure out, Jason, what the Angels are doing on offense.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. Like they've been bad. 100%. But this is a guy, Gibson gets a very high ground ball rate, but he's starting to now allow some hard contact. In his last 4 starts, now get this, 5 earned runs, 7 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 2 earned runs in the last 4 starts. He's getting smashed and now also has a very high walk rate of 4.01 per 9 innings. So nothing is going Gibson's way. You still have Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon in that lineup, right? Now Gibson, a 6.97 ERA at home this season, and righties are now hitting 287 with 4 home runs, and lefties aren't struggling. They're struggling a little bit on hitting, but they're definitely walking and also getting a bunch of home runs too, with 5 home runs from the left side. So yeah, Gibson struggled at home. He struggled against righties, also allowing some slugging on the left side as well. Where the Angels, they have bats that can definitely do damage. And for me, I'm taking the Angels first 5 minus 0.5 at minus 125. I'm banking on maybe Trout, Rendon hitting a home run over the wall, maybe getting a couple runs, and relying on Bundy, who's been much better recently. We did struggle a little bit in the middle of the season, which is like the second month of the season. But the middle of the season, he struggled a little bit, but he's looked a lot better recently, getting a lot of swinging strikes. FIP is very low at 2.95. The last three straight starts, he's went 5 innings pitched, allowed 2 earned runs or less. He's now holding batters to 195 average and just dominating on the road this season with an ERA of under 2. So this matchup really looks good for Bundy and the Angels here. Of course, the Angels' offense has looked really bad. I took their offense 2 days ago, and I lost that bet. But again, if you play like that and you said, all right, I'm not going to take the Angels, and I'm scared to take them, you're going to miss out on money. So Angels first 5 minus 0.5 and minus 125. I like this play for the Angels. Everything looks good for this one.
No, you bring up a great point also, and you have to have an erasable memory, if that makes sense, from the night before to the night. You have to trust the numbers you have, because the same case in point I took a beating on the Mets the night before, but then the lineup comes out and said, this makes sense. You have to continue to play into your advantages and into your odds, and they work out. You just go, hey, they got shut out last night, but they made sense. The next day it makes, well, they got shut out last night. I'm not going to take them today. Yep. You can't really go like that. The numbers are what the numbers say they are, so it's a good point that you bring up in that facet. Taking a look at the Angels lineup today, Mike Trout off the charts versus right-handed pitching this year. Anthony Rendon off the charts versus right-handed pitching. Walsh has had 22 at-bats against right-handed pitching. He has a 400 ISO. But the rest of this, I mean, come on. Andrelton Simmons, a .043 ISO. Matt Tice, a 0 ISO. Stassi, a 0 ISO. Joe Adele, a .03 ISO. Ward, a .136 ISO. Rengifo, .024 ISO. Where's all the money being spent out there for the Angels? My goodness. Those 3 guys in the middle of the lineup, Jason, don't hit. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is what it is for the Angels on the season. Now, buckle your seatbelts for this next game, because if you're watching anything what you saw last night, I couldn't believe, Jason, some of the numbers that were coming up where 10-run innings in the second, and usually the game slows down. Like maybe you put some subs in, the other team waves the white flag, you end up with a 14-5 type game. 29-9 last night, and it doesn't surprise me. And then I look today and say, all right, what are we going to do today? Where are those Braves at? Erlin versus Voth opened up at 10. No surprise whatsoever. This line is now sitting at 11s across the board. Erlin opened up at a 144. Now is at a 165 at Chris. And he's no peach either, talking about him versus Voth. This one just... I don't know if there's a game that looks too easy, because the numbers are priced at 11. It's not like we're getting 8.5 or 9 in this game. It's automatically high, but 5.5 team total for the Atlanta Braves. 4.5 there with some juice for the Nationals. It's one of those that just the trifecta looks like it should hit, right? You should be able to get an over, you should get Atlanta's over, and you should get Washington's over, and there shouldn't be that much resistance. But yet I see myself sitting here going, now wait a second, am I getting fooled? Because both of these lineups should rake tonight. Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, last night was hilarious. That was... I think for you and I both, just watching NL East teams kind of do that against not our teams, it was kind of fun, right? We watched the NL East so much.
Damn it.
It was so much fun just seeing that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like Robbie Erlin, he's got a 6.42 FIP. Austin Voth has a 7.6 FIP. Erlin, he allows hard contact at 41.8% of the time. Allowed multiple runs in 5 of 6 starts. For the Braves this season, since going onto the Braves roster, lefties now hitting 367 versus Erlin. So you have Soto, Eaton, Eric Taines. I mean, there's a ton of lefties that can do damage against Erlin. And then Voth, on the other hand, he struggles to get ground balls. He gets big. He gets high on the walks as well. He's now allowed 5 earned runs in his last 4 starts, and 2 were against the Braves. Of course, the Braves had 29 runs last night. So do they have enough to score some more in this one? I'm not taking the game because it just seems too good to be true, and I just don't know how the offense will respond. But like on paper, this is an over game. Should go over 15, but I mean, who knows?
You're right. I'm telling you, like, these are the games that you look at, and we're all the same, because we're still humans and we still line things up and we go, what's the catch here? Like when you walk into a store and you see something like, hey man, look at that pair of shoes up there. That's a nice pair of Nikes. Why are they $6.99? Instead of just saying, I'm going to buy them, they're nice, I'm going to walk out of the store, you start thinking, like, there's got to be a catch. Somebody's going to get me. This is $6.99 for the third pair, but I have to buy 2 pairs in order to get the $6.99. There's got to be a catch on this game, but it looks too easy. I think it goes over all 3 ways as well, just like I thought the Mets game would as well. Let's keep moving down the list here. Philadelphia and Miami, the team that got 29 runs. Now, look, in the way Major League Baseball's ebbs and flows go, they give up 29 last night. And maybe Alcantara throws a no-hitter tonight versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Arrieta versus Alcantara tonight, 69%, or actually close to 70% of the tickets here coming in on Miami. They open up as a slight favorite of 113. That's backed off a little bit. So roughly a pick 'em on both sides. Over-under opens up at 9 either side. I still can't trust Arrieta. I mean, good starts, really bad starts. Now he goes on the road, and this lineup is sneaky here and might be able to do some damage. If I bring up the estimated lineup, I was taking a look at it a little bit earlier in the day. Let me just bring this up here for the Marlins. Dickerson, Marte, Aguilar, Joyce, Anderson, Cooper, Chisholm, Rojas, and Alfaro. They could do some damage. The middle of the lineup, Marte's got a 348 weighted on base average versus righties. You look at Aguilar, 342, Joyce, 364, Anderson, 341, Cooper, 367, and Rojas, 366. And the Marlins are notorious Philly killers. I lean towards the over team total 4 in this game for the Marlins, Jason. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, with Arrieta, the way he's been pitching, 4 runs seems pretty low. Of course, he dominated the Mets in his last start. Well, I wouldn't say he dominated, though, because he did go 7 innings pitched, allowed 2 runs, but there were 7 hits involved in that game. So maybe the Mets could have done more damage than just 2 runs. So Arrieta, I mean, batters are hitting now 302 against him this season, with righties hitting 324. The one thing that he has done better, he's done better on the road this season compared to his home numbers. Does that matter in Miami? Maybe it does matter. So for me, I think the Phillies are the favorites here at the pick'em at -110. Watching what the Marlins did, with their bullpen yesterday, anything could happen really for the Phillies offense, and the Phillies offense really isn't that bad. So it's a pick'em for me, but I think the Phillies have the edge here when you go later into the game.
They should. I mean, they honestly should. But the guys, those young, Dominican pitchers that the Marlins have just been bringing up for the past 5 years seemingly dominate against Philadelphia Phillies bats, even though when you look at the lineup, it's like, wait a second, this lineup looks fantastic. This one, I'm not sure of half the guys in the lineup, and yet they perform. But maybe last night, those 29 runs might be a sign of some things to come. You get some runs. Again, not a great hitting ballpark overall. Would be nice to know if the weather or the roof was going to be open tonight down there in Miami. But hey, you got Miami Marlins baseball and Miami Hurricanes football in the same city. See what happens tonight down there in the squad. But I lean towards the Marlins in this baseball game, not for the win, but for the 4 runs. I think they're going to get 9 at bats in this game, so we'll see what takes place in this one. How about let's stay in the state of Florida here. We're going to go Boston and Tampa Bay, 961, 962. Kickham is going to get the start for Boston. Probably going to go, what, Jason, 2-3 innings there and hand it over to the bullpen. Then we take a look at Fleming, the lefty on the mound. How about this number? 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay with Fleming on the mound, not their aces that usually take the mound. Fleming, -210, now sits around -195 to 200s across the board. An over-run that opened up at 9, now sitting at 9.5. One would think there'd be runs in this game. Number one, Tampa Bay, not the greatest offense, but they match up well versus Kickham. And let's face it, this isn't the Boston Red Sox bullpen of 4 to 5 years ago where they were locking it down and winning World Series. He's going to hand it over after 3 innings to the bullpen to go the rest of the 6 innings, which sounds like a disaster. Boston has been hot on offense, and it's a nice combination that you get. And I always say, if you're looking for a total, you want 2 teams to chase each other. Both of these teams should be able to get runs 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, 5-5, get some extra innings, and should be able to hit this over. I like the Marlins team total in this game, and I do like the over as well. I think we're going to get some runs, even though not the greatest hitting environment down there in Tampa.
So I got the Red Sox over 3.5 in the team total at -106. The Red Sox in the last 6 games are averaging now over 6 runs per game, which is very beautiful there. I think the team total definitely has gone up since I took this, but it's still 3.5. The juice is probably still a bit heavier since last night because, like you said, I think you said 9.5 to 10 on the over or something like that. But I mean, here Fleming, this is a guy that he's allowed 2 and 4 runs in other starts this season in 3 starts. So in 3 starts he's allowed 2 runs, 4 runs, and 0 runs. 2 were versus the Marlins, which is probably not the best offense. I mean, of course, their offenses look pretty good recently, but not been the best offense. Well, the Red Sox, they do hit, lefties well. I mean, this is a lefty versus lefty game, which is pretty interesting. But the Red Sox, they hit lefties well. They have like a 340 or above weighted batting average against lefties this season. Their average isn't too bad. Their BABIP isn't bad. And like I said, they're a hot hitting team, especially Rafael Devers. He's been red hot recently for the Red Sox. I believe with giving them 9 innings to do some work, 4 runs just seems like it seems like a gift at this point against the Rays. If you go back to the Rays and Red Sox games and their totals, you'll see a ton of games that go over between these two teams. I like the Red Sox here to score some runs. I do like the Rays to score runs too in this game, but the Rays have been a little bit more inconsistent offensively as of late against the Nationals and other teams. But this matchup definitely calls for a ton of runs for the Rays and for the Red Sox. So definitely agree with the over in this entire game. And like you said, if you have that trifecta, this game is definitely a place where you can try for that trifecta.
Yeah, we're taking a look against Fleming here, the lefty, just left-handed pitching for the Boston Red Sox. Verdugo's been okay. Devers has been a little bit, skeptical against that. But after that 3 through, 8 tonight, you're looking at Xander Bogaerts with an ISO of 326, Martinez 250, Vasquez 244, Chavis 229, and Dahlback 273. And then Jackie Bradley Jr., who doesn't really do too much damage against lefties, he's actually fairly good. .190 ISO and a 337 weighted on base average. So you do have some shots in this game from both sides of the plate. We'll see if they can bring it in. Let's keep it moving. Out west, we're going to go back to the tin can, and guess who's making another appearance this year? Back after the DL had a somewhat of an okay start, I guess you could call it, for Bumgarner. Now he's going to back to face the Dodgers here. May versus Bumgarner. 7 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on those Dodgers. And how about this? Like, how many times have you seen this in the past? Minus 184 favorite. Oh, Bumgarner's a minus 184 favorite. No, he opens the dog, and not only do bettors see that, Bumgarner's shot. Now we're up to 230 with an over-under of 9.5, and it's like a broken record, specifically when they go down to the tin can in Arizona. The roof gets open, it heats up late in the game, and the Dodgers pop off. Another 6 runs last night. It's a high team total at 5.5, which means, again, they would have to get 6, but they're going to get a full 9 at-bats. They can be held down through 5 or 6 innings and explode late against this horrible Diamondbacks bullpen. I like the team total Dodgers over 5.5 in this game to bust up Bumgarner. It's one of those things where some people look and say, hey, Bumgarner's on the mound, getting plus 200. This isn't Bumgarner from 5, 6, 7, or 8 years ago. This is the 2020 Bumgarner here.
Yeah, so look, Bumgarner, he's getting rocked by righties this season, right? 288 average. He's allowed 9 home runs to righties this season. Now, we always like to talk about the Dodgers. Oh, Bellinger, Seager, all these lefties, Muncy. But you kind of forget, okay, well, now Mookie Betts is in the lineup. A.J. Pollock's in that lineup. Kike Hernandez is in that lineup. Barnes will probably start and be in that lineup. Obviously, I think Turner's still out. But there are some righties in that lineup for the Dodgers that could hit off of Bumgarner in this game. Dodgers over 5.5 team total does seem like a great play, and I do like that play. It's just high for me, and you'll never really catch Donnie or I taking a 5.5 on the team total. It's just a high number, even though we agree that it'll probably hit, especially on the road. You get automatic 9 innings. You'll never see us take that 5.5 unless it's the KBO, because there's some cast in the KBO. But yeah, in the MLB, it's hard to take a 5.5. So for me, if I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at potential over 1.5 on total bases for a couple of these players. So looking at Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases, looking at A.J. Pollock over 1.5 total bases, Hernandez over 1.5 total bases, Barnes, if he plays, over 1.5 total bases. Any of those righties can do damage over 1.5 total bases. Kike Hernandez, he has 4 home runs versus Bumgarner. Kike Hernandez is batting 500 versus Bumgarner with 4 home runs and like 10 extra base hits. That's the guy. He's batting 9th in the order. You probably get some really, really good value on him in this game. Take it over 1.5. Take a potential home run prop there, and you can get it. Hernandez hasn't looked great this season. Did have multi-hit game yesterday. There's Betts, there's Pollock, there's Hernandez, there's Barnes. I'd look at the player props in this game instead of worrying about the Dodgers over team total 5.5. I think that's the way to go in this game. I'm not usually like that, but for this game, I think that's the way to go.
You know how great it is, too, Jason, when you take a look at these baseball games. Let's just say you're taking team totals or overs in the first 5 or team total over 2.5 in the first 5 innings or anything what it would be. You always looked at a 5th inning like, oh, my goodness, the 7, 8, and 9 are up. The batter's going to bat. Maybe he gets pinch hit for. It's so nice to cap games where you don't have to worry about bases are loaded and the pitcher is coming up. Oh, well, let's move on to next inning. Instead, now, as you said, the Dodgers, you get bases loaded and the 9th hitter up. Yeah, it's Kike Hernandez. Much better than Walker Buehler stepping to the plate. So it's a lot more fun for us cappers here to have this DH implemented. That we're through our games. Let's continue to go over the rest of the card and chew on it. I know a lot of people out there. Thank you for checking in. 365 people watching live, 53 thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. A lot of awesome things going on at sportsbookreview.com. Soccer, as we know, NFL, college football, NBA action, Major League Baseball action. It's all right here on the channels. Live entertainment, taped entertainment, whatever you need, we got it right here at sportsbookreview.com. 957, 958, Kansas City and Cleveland. Another one of those teams I can hang Cleveland with, Jason, with the Los Angeles Angels and say, what are we doing on offense half of the time? Sometimes you see them, hey, look, they got their team total 5 or 6 runs. And the next night, they get shut out and barely look to be even put the ball in play from the night before. If we take a look today, Singer, they should be able to hit Singer. But then again, it's the Indians lineup here. Open up 8 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Indians. They open up as a minus 200. They're staying in that range. Even some of the New Jersey outlets say minus 225. How about this? Opens up 8.5 offshore Pinnacle, now sitting at 7.5. I look at this and be like, why am I just not taking the Indians team total? And then I say, oh, yeah, look at this lineup here.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. And the full game, Singer, he's now allowed 3 or more runs in his last 5 of the 6 games. He just allowed 10 hits against the White Sox in 5.2 innings pitched. He gets a solid ground ball rate, but does allow very hard contact and also has a high Sierra. Righties are hitting now 297 against Singer and have a lot of extra base hit damage from the left side, along with more walks as well. But then, Aaron Savali, this is a guy that allows hard contact as well. He does have a very low walk rate, but he's allowed multiple runs in 4 of 5 starts this season, or in his last 5 starts this season. He goes 6 innings every start, which is convincing, but he's still allowing multiple runs per start in most of his starts this season. So righties are still hitting 292 average with 5 home runs versus Savali, and there's a lot of extra base hits against Savali as well. So for me, I think the over is the play in this game. It's not an official play. I really want to make it one, but like you said, the Indians and Royals are 2 offenses that are impossible to read, and they're very inconsistent offenses that probably don't do much damage on any given night. So asking for just something out of these 2 offenses is more than you think.
No, I hear you. And I should look at this game like Cleveland should be able to get their team total fairly easily. And then I jump back and say, might be some better games on the card. How about this one? 963, 964, Baltimore and the New York Yankees. Yankees fresh off a victory. Taking a look at Baltimore, a crushing defeat. They're going to stay in the city of New York, just going over from Queens right over to the Bronx. Now, we take a look at this. You look at Aiken, the lefty. Oh, my goodness, we're going to be able to stack right-handed bats for the Yankees. Yes, they should hit, but Aiken hasn't been that bad. If you look at his ERA, is like a 2 or 3, and his advanced analytics aren't really that high. Then you have Garrett Cole on the opposite side. So no surprise that you have 8.5s primarily across the board as a total, but it's a heavy price to pay you for Cole. Minus 251, minus 250, minus 270 even at some of the New Jersey outlets. Is this one of those games where, look, Baltimore is hot on offense? You just say, you know what, I'm going to stay hot and take a 3.5 team total and just say, you know what, if we can maybe muster a run or 2 over 6 or 7 with Garrett Cole in there, we can get after that Yankees bullpen. I don't like to bet that way. I don't have a wager in this, but I originally was trying to look for a way to take the Yankees team total in this game, and I sort of backed off a little bit. Any thoughts on this one here in the Bronx?
Yeah, I backed off too. Cole, he's looked a little bit better recently. He's still allowing that home run ball, which is concerning, of course. He's now allowed 4+ runs in 3 straight starts. But it was just 1 earned run versus the Orioles in his last start. Even though the Orioles scored 5 runs, it was just 1 earned run again. So he had 10 strikeouts, 2 walks in 6 innings pitched. He wasn't that bad. But yeah, he hasn't been Garrett Cole. I expect him to get back to his ways in this game versus the Orioles. But then Keegan Aiken, this is the guy that's getting a ton of strikeouts and a ton of walks as well. So he's averaging 10.38 strikeouts per 9 innings and 4.85 walks per 9 innings, which is really bad. I think the Yankees can scrape out a couple runs early in this game against the Orioles and Aiken if they can just be patient at the plate. So for me, yeah, Yankees maybe minus 1.5 in this game. But yeah, it's tough. Maybe under 9. I think both pitchers they do their work, and maybe the Yankees come out on top towards the end.
Yeah, no, I think the Yankees are the team in this one, but I just look at that Baltimore offense and say, man, they are getting after it early in games, and you only need to get maybe 4 runs in this one to cash a ticket. May be worth it, but I'm not going to play that game either way. 965, 966, Cincinnati and the Chicago Cubs. When the wind is blowing in, all heck can break loose. You saw last night. How about this one? Like, wind blowing in, no problem. 3 runs in the top of the first. Nobody scored. Nobody scored the rest of the game in that one. Wind blowing in at 15 miles an hour. But how about this? One of the best over umpires behind the plate, and Ron Kolpa in this game. Maybe that offsets the wind a little bit. We'll see. It's Gray versus Alzolay in this game. 50-50 ticket split. Gray opens up at 125, now sitting around 130. And there's that low over-under, Jason, again, at 7. When the wind is blowing in, you want to look at the 7 and say, hey, you know what? Come on, it can't be that bad, but it seems like a major effect if it's double digits and blowing dead in, which it is again. I can't even say I can lean on the under, though, because it just doesn't fit what I do. I do think the fact that Cincinnati, again, which I had yesterday in that run line, first 5 innings, the reverse run line, which paid off. Close game. I'm going to lean on Gray in this one. I'll take him as a cheap favorite here, about minus 125, minus 130.
Yeah, I agree with the Rays, the Reds here. This is interesting because both these pitchers have pretty high walk rates, right? So we talk about the wind all you want, but I don't think the wind is going to stop the walks. And those guys get on base, and anything can happen, right? I like the over 7. Sonny Gray coming back from a miserable performance, a little bit over a week ago, where he allowed 6 runs or whatever that was, or it might have been even more runs. He wasn't good, right? 6 runs in 0.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 walks. That's what it was versus the Cardinals in his last start. Hasn't pitched since that game, so I'd be cautious on Gray. That's why I'm not going to take the Reds. But yeah, do I think Gray's the better pitcher? Of course I do. In this game, I think there could be runs in this game. I keep saying there's going to be runs and keeps not being any runs, but just looking at this, you just expect runs. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's I'm telling you, just a little wind coming in, and we're not talking about gale like 46 miles an hour blowing in where the ball doesn't leave the infield. It's wild to look at. And last night I thought that trend was going to be bucked to 3-0 right away. And there you go. The rest of the game, nobody scored. Last game we'll get to before we get to some best bets and bankers and get some victories here. 967, 968 West Coast action. San Francisco and San Diego. Cahill versus Paddock. When you take a look at Paddock on the season here, Jason, you say, hey, struggling with that ERA 4.75, but his advanced numbers, FIP, which obviously his ball is leaving the ballpark as well, 4.59, but his xFIP is 3.71 with a nice Sierra of 3.85. Lean on this game. I don't have a wager, but if I was going to do this, I actually would lean on taking Paddock first 5 innings run line. Just give me that offense to go up against Cahill. 2-1, 3-1, 3-2 game after 5. I'll pick up the victory there. Outside of that, no real feel in that one, but Paddock's and advanced analytics should show up tonight. If they do, I think they're going to take that first 5 here. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I agree. Look, Trevor Cahill on the other hand has a 5.82 walk rate per 9 innings. That's really bad. 5.82. Yeah, I'd assume the Padres can definitely score some runs in this game, especially early. Chris Paddock, he hasn't really impressed anybody. His home run rate is really high at 1.9 per 9 innings. That's really bad. And his exit velocity is really high. Hard contact is high this season as well. But yeah, like you said, his xFIP 3.69. Yeah, you expect the Padres to do some damage offensively at home, and you'd hope that Paddock can just hold it down just a little bit, through the first 5 innings, and then maybe he can allow some runs later on, whatever the case might be. But yeah, I like the Padres here too. I was thinking about minus 1.5 and over 9 in this game, but I think anyway you look at the Padres, I think they'll win this game. But I'm not going to put much money or any money on Chris Paddock for any reason.
All right, let's get to it here. 33 minutes into the show, a complete card for you guys. Get in, get out. Now let's get some money. We're going to put on the line. Look, this is one of those cards where I usually would take Atlanta or Washington and say, here's what we're going to do. Or I might say, hey, Jason, I'm rolling really hot. Nothing really fits my eye, so I'm going to abstain. That's not what we do here. We got to put our money on the line. And the game I'm going to go with tonight, we're going to head down to the Sunshine State. We're not going to pick on Philadelphia or the Marlins, which I do like the Marlins team total. I'm going to go with the Tampa Rays here, team total over 5, minus 115. And here's the reason why. When you take a look at the Red Sox, which Jason's going to back up here as well, they can hit. So let's just say you go into the game I don't think Fleming's going to pitch a shutout against the Red Sox. You should have two teams that will be able to chase each other, 2-2s, the 3-3s, the 4-4s, and maybe end up in extra innings. But just take a look at Kickham, who's going to get his first start, I believe, since like 2014. He's been in games this year, but obviously not all that effective. And if you're not a starter for the last 6 or 7 years, you're showing up in Major League Baseball, there's a reason for that. So if we're going to take a look at Tampa Bay, not the greatest hitting lineup, but effectively, Jason, I'm going to get 9 innings of bullpen work to go up against the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. So if we look at even the starter coming at Kickham, who's a lefty, it looks like they're anticipating having 6 out of the first 9 batters in the game that are going to be from the right-hand side. That should be a boom. But looking just at the Red Sox themselves in the past 10 games, 2 games out of those 10, they allowed 2 runs in. One of those games, keep in mind, was the doubleheader in Philadelphia, which was only a 7-inning game. The rest of the games that the Red Sox have given up, 6, 10, 7, 6, 8, 8, 10, and 6. We're going Tampa Bay Rays to make it 15-1 out of 16 tonight. Let's go Rays. Team total over 5, -115. Jason, take it away. Best bets and bankers.
Yeah, so first off, we'll go with the Angels. First 5, -0.5 at -125. Dylan Bundy versus Kyle Gibson. We got a guy with a 2.95 FIP and a guy with a 5.8 FIP in Gibson. So, yeah, I love Bundy in this spot. I think he'll do well versus the Rangers. And just have to hope that Trout and Rendon do some damage against Gibson, because that might be our only chance of scoring some runs. But no, in reality, though, Gibson's been so bad. Even some of the worst batters can definitely score some runs and drive in some runs against Gibson, who's allowed a ton of runs in his last 4 starts. But then the banker of the day, it's basically what Donnie is saying, but going on the other hand, on the other side, over 3.5 on the team total for the Red Sox. I like the Red Sox and their bats against the lefties like Fleming. And then the 2 lefties that are, there's going to be 3 lefties in the lineup. You talked about how Jackie Bradley has been okay. And then you have Verdugo and Devers, who are the top guys in the Red Sox lineup. Usually, Devers has been red hot. Verdugo, the big piece in that trade in the offseason for the Red Sox. There's 2 tremendous bats, and then you have a ton of righties that can do damage for the Red Sox in that lineup. So I love the Red Sox here, over 3.5 on the team total. Definitely think this full game goes over, so I agree with that as well. Definitely trifecta is in play for this game. That's a bank.
I like it, man. I like it, man. I think we're on the right side today. I got to say, guys, 385 people watching live on a football day where everybody's geeked up and ready for football. You guys spent your lunch hour with us there, spent time to come in the chat box and say hello. We really appreciate it because, again, me and Jason can do this stuff. We have outside entities that we can do. We want to come on and talk some baseball, and we appreciate the chat box coming in and feeling the same way. It's what we do, and you know what? We will be back tomorrow on Friday to break down the large Friday baseball card, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time to do it all over again. I think we're going to have a big night in Major League Baseball. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're Sportsbook Review, and this is your Major League Baseball show. Good luck, guys.